What is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, we're going to be talking about a few questions related to ordering and comparing fractions, decimals, and percents. And so here we're given this question. We have 2/7 and 1/8, and we have to figure out which one is greater, and then we have to use the appropriate notation. So the notation we're going to use the greater than sign, the less than sign, or the equal to sign. And so there's some different methods. You can try to draw pictures, but I like to use the butterfly method. And so what this does is first step is we create a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply 7 times 8 to get my common denominator as 56 on both sides. And then what I can do is I can do 7 times 1 to give me 7. And then 8 times 2 to give me 16. And so now that I have common denominators of 56, all I do is have to compare the numerators to see which one's bigger. So I can say that 2/7 is greater than 1/8. So we have this question: which of these numbers is between 3/8 and 81/100? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out a common format that I'm going to use here. And so 3/8 is kind of a different kind of fraction because it's not a factor of 100. So with that being the case, I'm going to try to figure out what 3/8 is as a decimal. And I'm going to do some long division to figure that out. So 8 goes into 30 3 times. And you can see I'm just working out my long division. 8 goes into 67 times. So I'm getting closer, I think. So we got 40. 8 goes into 45 times. And so I have 0 remainder there. So 3/8 is the same as 375 thousandths. And then I have 81/100. I got to figure out which one of these numbers, A, B, C, or D, are going to fit in there. And so we can go ahead and eliminate a couple of these right away. So I'm going to eliminate 81/10. That's going to give me an improper fraction. These two fractions are still in between 0 and 1, so I'm going to get rid of the improper fraction right away. So I don't even want to look at it. Another one I can take my eye at is 3/100. And so I can already tell that 3/8 is definitely bigger than 3/100. The decimal for 3/100 is 0.03. And I'm looking at that tenths place number right there for my 3/8 being 3. So I'm going to eliminate that one. So I got 1/3 and 3/4 to deal with. So for 1/3, this is a good one to memorize. This number as a decimal is 0.3, and that number just repeats on and on and on forever and ever. So if I compare my decimals, 0.333 and 0.375, the 3's in the tenths place are the same, so let's go to the hundredths place. So I can say that the 7 is bigger, and so right now 1/3 is too small. So I can look at 3/4. 3/4 is another good decimal to have memorized. 3/4 out of $1 is 0.75. So I can say that after showing some work, 3/4 is going to be in between 3/8 and 81/100. And so it's super important on this question. Make sure to show some steps here. Don't just try to guess and wing it. That's not going to cut it. We got some steps and some strategies for you. And last question, we're going to order these numbers from least to greatest. And so 3/8 was in my previous question. I'm going to write that as 0 and 375 thousandths. So then I have 0.3, so 0 and 3/10 is going to be 0 and 3/10. And then I have this number right here. And so it's a decimal and a percent sign. And so we have to do something special to this. We have to convert that percent, since the label is percent, into a decimal. So 0.3% as a decimal what we do is we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So I'm going to rewrite this decimal as 0 3 thousandths. So let's go ahead and write that in as my decimal, 0 3 thousandths. So now I'm comparing these least to greatest. My smallest one, we have to compare the tenths place first. So when we compare the tenths place, we're seeing that our number in the middle of 0.3% is going to be my smallest number. Next up, if I compare the hundredths place, you notice that there is nothing here for 3/10. So for 3/10, what you have going on here is that we can add a 0 and a 0, so hundredths place, thousandths place. So we can go ahead and compare those numbers. So right now I can see that 7 is bigger than 0, so I'm going to do my next number as 3/10, and then my last number as 3/8. And so with this, what we have going on is we have some great steps going on. I converted them all to decimals to make it easier for myself. And so if I converted them all to percents, you can see that as 3/10 as 30%. You can say 3/8 is about 37%. And then you have 0.3%. That's still the smallest number. And then you can compare 30% and 37%. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here, a lot of strategies. But use the strategies. The strategies are there to help you. And so if you have a question, leave a comment in Google Classroom about this video, and I will touch base and try to help you out the best I can.